American Psychological Association Guideline for Assessment topic kanzir ka chuan chumi a chuan point number 1 to 3 a guideline sami kha kanzir to atuna apalina kan lo hen le donia consistent with the goals of assessment and disability related barriers to assessment. Psychologists in clinical settings strive to appropriately balance quantitative, qualitative, and ecological perspectives and articulate both the strengths and limitations of assessment. Kami akan goals of assessment kan soi atira kan soi to kha hemi assessment hian atumber chu holistic assessment of the client kha anitani an mani clinical setting anon kala testing lo pe ka lo evaluate ngot kha atok lova chumi pialama chuan an history te family te ne interview nei te an mani interview pek ba kha khan I observation kan siam sang te ngai poimo kha assessment a chuan atel bok ta ni chumi a chuan psychologist te hian thil pathum kan balance ke nge angaya chungte chu quantitative perspective qualitative perspective le ecological perspective te hi ania heng pathum ba kha hian kan assessment kan ti ta ka te kha enge a strength nia enge a weakness ani ti te pokha kan nge to te langai ani a chan chu a strength ringot kan en chuan a limitation kha kan en ka nanga kan assessment kan flow tam takani thei ta ni chon na china accommodation kan soi song te po kan ngai poi mo fe kanga amai ro chu accommodation pe thei test petra thei test te po lo ma se limitation kha an nei vek don thawani chumi ni wa chon khang hawa khang ngai to reng chungin kan assessment pe ka hi enge a that tok na le a that tok lo na lai song te kha kan ngai to tel nge ngai bokani. To maximize the validity of the assessment, psychologists are encouraged to apply integrative multi-method assessment rather than rely solely on any one type of data. The literature identifies three approaches to the psychological assessment of the individual with disabilities: quantitative, qualitative, and ecological. So number 1 le number 2 kan soitak ama saber pania kan soitak te khan quantitative assessment chungchang cho asoi toa an mani kan test danak an mani atanga assessment I quantitative te wakan ne the danang chi kha min shilfia to tani. Qualitative assessment focuses on observation and interview and is idiographic and holistic. Qualitative kan ti ve thung chu kan subject te kan clients te kan observe an mani behavior te kan ena engtin nge an react engtin nge an body language dan engtin nge an trong dan an trong line engtin nge an mani an ti zong te ba ka khan interview kan ni zong te kha I huam tel bok ta ni idiographic ba ka holistic method de ania. While few qualitative measures have been properly validated, some psychologists believe that qualitative measures may be especially useful in specific applications such as vocational assessment or when no psychometrically appropriate measures are available for a client whose severe or complex disabilities are a barrier to standardized assessment. Standardized assessment kha quantitative chu animeta testing kan pe kang chi te an mani clinical setting a test kan conduct tirang chi song khan ta khamia khan du thu chu asam lo thei bokani chumia chon qualitative hian khami kha aron cover ve theya chuan a big takin vocational assessment engang na thok thei tur nge anni tia khan qualitative atangka mani quantitative chuan thil tam tak me shil theya amero chu clients te kha yenge aril zok le akim zok a me shil tur chan qualitative kan ma motel bokani hemi vocational assessment ba ka I psychometric testing du thu sa mangchi alo lo palta khan mo testing chu ma se and disability mila accommodate thei lo ani khan qualitative ho hi aron tangkai vele che tani. Some scholars subsume the ecological approach under the qualitative assessment approach. The ecological approach assesses behavior in context. It is an idiographic approach which unobtrusively observes a person with a disability in natural settings and avoids norm reference interpretations. Ecological approach kan ti chuan subject clients te kha an ma ani mi mal ani na ang khan kan ve endona ni hey standardized testing kan soire re hi chuan norm population ne na va compare khamia tang khan where do they fall Are they on top? Are they in the middle? Are they somewhere in the bottom? Tika standardized testing le norms chuan min shil thei ani. Ma se khami khan the unique needs of the clients kha min shil lem lovani. An mani individual needs te, an mani mamo big te, an mani strength le and weaknesses big te kha min shil lem lova chumi ni wang chon ecological approach apoi molet mani achan chu ecological approach hian kan clients te kha an mani natural environment ta entingen ti te le midang nena compare lovin by themselves as they are. What are they capable of? What is their limitation? What is their strengths and weakness aka min shil dona chuan na china kan soitak norms le na vo compare lo khan an mani as an individual aka kan ve en pha thei dona ni. So ecological assessment hi chuan the individual as him or herself khan assess dinani chu. It is particularly applicable to children with disabilities, adults with multiple barriers to other forms of assessment, and specific service settings such as vocational settings. Khanga khan atangkai big ani he ecological assessment hi. Functional assessment measures how a person interacts with the environment and focuses on various domains of real-life skills that enable the person to independently engage in his or her environment. Khang ba ka khan functional assessment omleta. Functional assessment na chuan individual kha environment ne tin interact tin nge ama in omta se en kol them enge ti thelo mi puizinga omta se enge a limitation enge a strength khami zong kha entani. So functional kan ti chuan the functional ability of the individual in the environment kha a ko bertani chuan khami khan a skills enge nei enge ti thei enge tho thei enge ti theilo khami zong kha kan entel don bok tinani chu. It is particularly useful for clients who have disabilities, including those with multiple barriers to assessment. Functional assessment observes the client's living, working, social, and/or learning environment and portrays the extent of the client's adaptive behavior. Engchina nge ama in independent thei, engchina nge ama in independent lo, engchina nge ama in kol theya, engchina nge chan puyangai tiang zong kha enanga chuan environment khan ein adapt them environment thara va omta se ama disability ne zong ne khan eng chena nge ein adapt the zong kha functional assessment chon azon chho tumber chuni tani. Psychologists are encouraged to consider a multidisciplinary perspective in assessing clients with disabilities. Multidisciplinary perspective hi poimo ma chanchu psychology atang runga chon disability hi aza chon kan study theilawa kan zirkim theilawa tranpuina po kan pekim theilawa ni chumi ni wang chon multidisciplinary approach angaya chumi a chon psychology pia ba ka hian special education te clinical te occupational te community rehabilitation sang te hi heng ho ne kan tho ho hi angaya ni he clinical psychology shim poi amani na hian multidisciplinary discipline ania. Clinical psychologist te an mani chawin thok thian ni lova psychiatrist te psychiatric social worker te psychiatric nurse te baka mi chi sang an thok pui angai ni chutiang bok chuan rehabilitation a po hian rehabilitation psychologist te ringot hian clients te ka anen kol theilova mi chi sang an thok pui angai thren khata chuan special education pek nga yang chi te ani theta no pangale puitlinga po special education pek ngai te anom ve theya clinical rehabilitation te occupational rehabilitation te community rehabilitation ang chi khatiang ang experts ho song neng khan thok ho se do thu sam chon clients te khan an hlok pui don ani khatiang chi re mitam tak discipline sang ron kal khomina an tho ho kha multidisciplinary approach kan ti ber chu ani ta ni. Point number 5. Psychologists in clinical settings strive to maximize fairness and relevance in interpreting assessment data of individuals who have disabilities by applying approaches which reduce potential bias and balance and integrate data from multiple sources. Psychologists attempt to recognize any personal conception of and reactions to disability that may bias their interpretation of assessment data. Hei atir bera kan soito nen khan ain zultani. Whenever a psychologist is going to assess an individual, he or she must put aside his or her bias and his or her preconceived notions so that there is an objective and a very fair assessment of the client. And yun client ka aman angay na mi lem lo trong du deu emo trong klem deu emo zu lo in thin emo ani na ang shim ma khan kha psychologist khan lova ngai nat lo na sa kha ane theta ni khami ke mani na bias kan ne kha da bo the angai ani achan chu khami bias ne na kan na kan thok don ani chon kan clients te kha engtika ma kan tran pui tur ain kan tran pui the don lavani. So we need to be able to put aside all of these biases that we have and work with the client as objectively and as fairly as possible. Using multiple independent information sources. Information source shang hi kan man thia mangai boka kal khat deuh ni lo ti shang approach mang internet mang te lekhabu mang te le midangina research alo be to atang te khan azau theyang bera kan ti angai chumi ni wangchon chumi discipline mi big te ho chu karon du lo ka anrin tlak lo ka thopui pe lo teng chi ka athei lo top pa ni multidisciplinary approach and use kan soizo chia chumi ni chon we should be able to work with everyone who is in the field of rehabilitation. And we need to adopt a very open mind and a very broad-minded way of working with other people, and which may help to safeguard against bias-related problems. All right, so kamika poimo tani. The literature on fairness in psychological assessment suggests a number of strategies for removing or minimizing bias. These strategies include, number 1, delaying professional judgment and decision until after rather than during and evaluation. Evaluation kan ti lai ni lo evaluation kan ti to nuwa result zong ka kan effect to nuwa chau professional judgment le decision akha siam chau turani assessment kan ni lai emo assessment kan ni ma kha chuan professional judgment kha pek lo tur. Number B, identifying personal preconceptions about persons with disabilities. Examining integrative primary and competing hypotheses regarding client issues and validating them using both confirmatory and non-confirmatory assessment. Alright, John Adotlea. Developing complex schemas or conceptions of clients with disabilities based on pertinent literature and individual experience. Next, specifically addressing both strengths and weaknesses in functioning and focusing on the referral question. Overall, psychologists should attempt to balance the consideration of social, clinical, and psychometric disability-related issues with other intra-individual factors such as socio-demographic background, motivation, strength, resources, or coping skills, and environment factors such as attitudes and reactions of others, context of assessment, and various societal systems. So kami zong akha kan balance thia mangaya social issues te clinical issues te psychometric issues ba ka a individual te na anma niya issues tam takan nei te an strength and weakness motivation ba ka society na anma ni an hu da zong ate ka kan ngai to tel veka kan clients te kan enkol na khan kan incorporate lu angai ni. Particular care in this regard needs to be exercised by psychologists performing assessment in high-stakes, potentially contentious contexts such as criminal cases and medico-legal assessment for entitlement to disability benefits that utilize special methods for evaluation of symptom validity and effort. Chon poi molet chu high-stake cases mi enge an assessment jela an tan le tan lon danan bo chenge bo chelo ti ba ka sarkar atang benefit an don thena thilanga ngat phika chon kan film khule zol kha ngai ta ni chon khami kha APA ina guidelines panga min pek te chu ania chon khami kha ke ni chon assessment da kan guidelines lang pui tan chon kan man tur te chu ani ta ni.